to America's heartland, where tonight it's a battle between the Houston Astros and the Kansas City Royals.
Thanks, Matt. And here we are in the city of fountains, Kansas City, Missouri, getting set for baseball night in America. The city of fountains, and we have the fountains here at Kauffman Stadium as the Astros come to town to take on the Royals here in Game 2 of this 3-game series. The field is all set for play. We're ready for some ball. Let's play some ball. Hello, everybody. Justin Kutcher alongside Rex Hudler. And Rex, these Kansas City Royals came in. Many people thought they'd beat last year's Baltimore Orioles, a sleeper team. They had a rough month of May. They've made a change. They brought in this guy. Oh, yeah, George Brett. What has he meant for this team?
Hall of Famer wears number 5. It's meant a lot, really. George is very intense. He's high energy, and he's very dramatic. And what he's doing is he's bringing a mental philosophy to these young players here. He's teaching them how to stay on top of the ball, how to compete in every at-bat, and it's made a difference so far in June.
Yeah, they've won their last 3 games. As far as the Astros are concerned, many people thought they would lose 100 games this year. Well, guess what? Their last 10, they're 7-3. Why?
They're young and unknown, and they love to play. They got energy, but it's the 15 home runs that's really made a difference for them. They've got some power sprinkled out throughout that lineup, 1 through 9. Be exciting to see. And they're facing a guy, Irvin Santana, who gives up a lot of home runs.
This team, the Astros, not a lot of well-known names. Well, guess what? Here tonight in Kansas City, they've got a well-known name on the mound, Eric Bedard, in his 200th career start. And he'll be opposed by Irvin Santana, looking for his 100th career win. It's Astros Royals next on Fox. All night in America here on Fox. The Astros and the Royals. Time for tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Brendan Barnes will bat lead off and play center field. Jose Altuve back in the lineup, batting second, playing second. Jason Castro will catch and bat third. JD Martinez will back clean up and play left. Carlos Pena will DH and bat fifth. Chris Carter at first, bat sixth. Trevor Crow will play right field and bat seventh. Matt Dominguez in the 8-hole will play third base, and Marwin Gonzalez will bat ninth and play shortstop. And they will face the right-hander Ervin Santana, looking for his 100th career win, his 7th attempt on the season, 3-5 with a 3.03 ERA. He has put up good numbers. He just has not gotten the run support. The opening pitch is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Barnes, the righty, steps in against Santana. And the first pitch is taken for a strike.
All right, Ervin Santana, he's going to come right at these guys with his good hard fastball. He likes to sink it a little bit, but he's got a changeup that's pretty effective, but his out pitch is his slider. He's got a real good one, has a little downward break to it.
Oh, one little pop-up, first base. Hosmer in foul territory, looking up into the sun, makes the catch, one away. The defensive lineup brought to you by Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. For the Royals in left field, David Lowe. In center, Lorenzo Cain. And right, Jeff Francoeur. Around the horn in the infield, Eric Hosmer at first base, Elliott Johnson at second, Alcides Escobar at short, Miguel Tejada, the former Astro, is at third, and Salvador Perez is behind the plate.
A lot of range in that infield. They've got some good arms and some flashy defensive gloves for sure.
One away, and Jose Altuve, first pitch swinging, fouls it back. No balls and one strike. Altuve on the season, 297, 3 home runs, 22 RBIs.
And he's one of their more established guys. For a young team, he's the veteran.
The 0-1 pulled, third base foul, and it's quickly no balls and 2 strikes. Altuve missed a couple of games with a strained groin, but he's back in there. Actually, the trainers told Bo Porter yesterday he's good to go. But Bo Porter, he said, you know what? Whenever I get that word and it's a lower extremity, I give it 1 extra day.
Now, Bo Porter, he's learning. That's smart. Players want to play sometimes before they're actually ready. But Ervin will take that easy little check swing out.
Quickly 2 up, 2 down here in the first for Ervin Santana.
I tell you, this is important for Houston to get Ervin early. Santana, he's given up in the first inning this year in his starts 11 total runs, 9 earned. And so far, these early count outs that he's getting, he's only thrown 5 pitches. Boy, that's perfect for Ervin. He typically goes early in that first inning, 7.36 ERA. And after that, it's a little bit over 2 the rest of the game. So if he can get through this first inning, he usually cruises. He's having a good season.
The first pitch to Jason Castro misses outside for ball 1. You saw Castro's numbers. He's having a good season. 272, 8 home runs, and 20 RBIs. 1-0. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. There are those numbers you're talking about. You got to get to them early. 13 walks, 62 strikeouts.
And you know, it's like that for a lot of pitchers too. James Shields, their ace for the Kansas City Royals, he's had trouble in the first innings as well, giving up almost the same thing. He's given up about 9 or 10 first inning runs, but he settles down after that and he cruises. And the reason why is that you go from that bullpen to the mound, you got to find out what's working for you. And what pitches are working that didn't work out in the bullpen. Maybe it's different in that first inning. So you got to gauge your pitches on depending on the hitter and the situation in that first inning. Young or old, sometimes a struggle.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Castro here, top of the first inning. Astros and Royals. The Royals won last night 4-2. 2-2 is low and inside with the breaking ball. And now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Castro with JD Martinez on deck.
There's always elements to an outdoor ballpark. And this one here in Kansas City, the 6 o'clock start, there's shadows. Makes it more difficult for hitters.
3-2 called, strike 3 on the outside corner. Castro didn't think so. A 1-2-3 inning work by Ervin Santana. No score, and the Royals are coming up. Lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss for the Orioles. David Lowe will bat leadoff. Alcides Escobar will bat second. Salvador Perez will bat in the 3-hole. The cleanup hitter is the DH Billy Butler. Eric Hosmer bats fifth. Lorenzo Cain will bat sixth. The bottom third of the order, Miguel Tejada, Jeff Francoeur, and Elliott Johnson. And they will face the southpaw, Eric Bedard, on the hill for the Astros. 1-2 on the season, a 4.76 ERA. He picked up the win in his last start on the 3rd of June when he went 7 innings against the Angels. That was his first win since August 12th of last year. And so here he comes to face these Royals, and the lefty David Lowe leading off.
All right, what the Royals are going to be seeing from Bedard, a sinking fastball. He'll cut it. He'll add and subtract from the speed. So he's got like 3 different variations off his fastball. He's got a nice slider. That's been his put-away pitch. And also he'll throw some change-ups. When he comes in, he's got a nice little downhill plane, but he's a crafty and a smart veteran now. Doesn't throw as hard as he used to.
Bedard, back in the mid-2000s, he was one of the top lefty pitchers for a couple of years as Lowe laces one to center field. David Lowe, a wide turn at first base. The ball gets by Brandon Barnes, and Lowe will take the extra base.
So Brandon Barnes makes his first error of the year here on a ball that he'll tell you, I just didn't focus. Yeah, that ball comes to you, you can't look up and throw it before you catch it. And Lowe, he took advantage of it. Now, no Alex Gordon today. First time all year Alex Gordon has taken a day off. He's 3 for his last 30. So I think Ned Yost said it's time for a little chill pill. And David Lowe is happy to step in there and get some action going early.
So now you have the leadoff man on base at second, Alcides Escobar at the plate against Bedard. The corners playing just about even with the bags. Escobar lays down a bunt, and that will roll foul, picked up in foul territory by Castro.
Okay, the Royals, they have a slash and dash type of offense. They're last in homers, but they get a lot of singles and doubles, and that's how they generate their runs. Runs has not been something that they've been used to getting a lot of. They had a real tough valley they were in the month of May, and since Ned Yost brought on George Brett, George is doing a lot of talking, just like you said there, and he's doing some mental work. Most of it's above the shoulders for some of these young hitters. And Escobar is back in that second slot today. Ned kind of changed up his lineup against the lefty.
A lot of young players on this team, a lot of young players with potential. Bedard checks the runner back at second, the 0-1. Fouled away, no balls and 2 strikes to Escobar, who's hitting .244 in the season with 3 home runs, 19 RBIs.
So a situation here, a manager wants to see you try to hit the ball to the right side. Move him over, get him in scoring position. But with 2 strikes on you, Escobar on that last swing showed Ned Yost, all right, I have the idea, I know how to hit this guy over, but with 2 strikes, you can throw it all out. Go to protect it and hack it. Escobar likes to hit that ball to the right side.
The 0-2 from Bedard, breaking ball in the dirt. Castro keeps it in front of him. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Royals, they have won their last 3 games. They had dropped 11 in a row here at Kauffman Stadium. And obviously the change, bringing in George Brett as the new hitting coach, that's been well documented. And trying to get an early run here against this Astros team is something that the Royals could certainly use. Build on that confidence from those last 3 games.
Exactly right. But you got to do little things. Little things in baseball turn into large things, especially wins. And that's what you're paid to do. Doesn't matter how old or young. We're talking about 2 of the youngest teams in baseball here. Still, the reason George is here to teach situations to some of the Royals hitters.
The 1-2 from Bedard. Fastball misses inside. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that last pitch of going inside to Escobar has been one of the biggest changes for this Astros starting rotation. They are starting to really work the inside part of the plate. Bo Porter was saying today that first part of the year, first couple of months, they were living on the outer third, and teams knew that. They wouldn't come in. But instead, Doug Brocail forced it. Just beat it into their heads. You got to go inside. You got to go inside. And since then, they've been much, much better.
Yeah, that opens up the outer third. You can't start out there. You know, hitter's going to lean out over there. You bust him in, it opens up that outer half.
2-2 off speed. Back to Bedard. Checks the runner back. Will take the out at first base. A good play by Bedard. The defensive lineup brought to you by Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. For the Astros in the outfield from left to right, J.D. Martinez, Brendan Barnes, and Trevor Crow. Around the horn in the infield at first is Chris Carter, Jose Altuve at second, Marwin Gonzalez at short, Matt Dominguez at third, and behind the plate is Jason Castro. But Altuve is a key.
Yes, this guy, you know, he may not be large in stature physically, but man, he's a player. He's got a huge heart. He's like 6'7" if you look at his heart. Very strong competitor, good range, and he's their leader. He's helped solidify the middle of that infield.
He's the secretariat of small guys with a big heart.
That's right.
First pitch swinging, Perez, line drive, single center field. Barnes comes up and waving around third base is low. No throw, 1-0 Royals. Barnes didn't even try to go home with that.
Yeah, you know what? He knew. He knows who's running. David Lowe's got good speed. You don't throw too many guys out from center field anyway. But I'll tell you, Salvador Perez, since Ned Yost has inserted him in this month of June in that 3-hole, he's come alive. You know, he had an unfortunate situation in his family, lost his grandmother. He went on that about an 8-day leave and took care of some business out there, you know, and was able to move his mother out here. So he's gone through a lot over the last couple of weeks. But since he's been here, he's raking. He hits .357 here at the K this year.
Salvador Perez picks up his 20th RBI this season, gives the Royals a 1-0 lead, and now Billy Butler will step to the plate. First pitch changeup misses outside for ball one to Butler. On the season, .277, 5 home runs, 34 RBIs. And OPS over 800.
Now, Billy Butler last year was a Silver Slug Award winner. He got him a silver bat. That's the best designated hitter in the American League. You're pretty good if you get one of those, and you're a hit-only guy.
Fastball is outside, 2-0.
He'll play some first base once in a while when Ned sees fit, mainly in National League cities when they lose the DH.
.2-0 changeup, 3 balls and no strikes. So as a hitter, 2-0, you're thinking fastball, right? Is that a matter of respect for Butler, or with Hosmer on deck, you'd rather go lefty-lefty as opposed to giving him a 2-0 fastball?
Yeah, you know, they know Billy drives the bus here for the Royals, so he's going to be a little bit careful there. Now, 3-0, sometimes Billy will get a green light, especially the way he's been swinging lately. It's been hot.
3-0, not swinging, takes a strike, 3 balls and 1 strike.
But you can see the miles per hour up on your left there, in our little box there. That, I'll tell you there that he's changing speeds with that fastball. And so sometimes that's very important for a pitcher to be able to do that off of his fastball. It really messes the hitter up.
Perez on at first base. 3-1, good swing, fouled back, 3 balls and 2 strikes. One away here in the first. David Lowe reached on a leadoff single, moved to second on the error by Brendan Barnes, came around to score on the RBI single by Salvador Perez.
Royals as a team have a .275 average against lefties. However, they've been having a hard time getting wins against them. They're only 4-12 against left-handed starters.
3-2, runner goes in the air to right field. Trevor Crow going back, still going back by the warning track, makes the catch. The throw comes back in towards first, but Perez will get back there safely. 2 away here in the first.
Okay, last half inning, I was talking about the shadows here in the sun. At 6 o'clock starts, it can be really difficult here. You see the sun, and it's not on the high fly balls. It's the line drives that have a little humpback to them that'll get you in trouble as far as losing the ball goes. However, if you look at the flags here at the K, they're blowing pretty strong from right field to left field. And if you can get one up in center, left center and left field, that wind will help you get a homer.
Eric Hosmer steps in. Hosmer first pitch swinging, fouls it back. Hosmer on the season, 270, a home run, 18 RBIs. We mentioned the young guys on this team with big expectations. You got Hosmer, Salvador Perez, Lorenzo Cain, Mike Moustakas, who's not in the lineup, Alex Gordon. A lot of talented youngsters. And that's why many people had this team as a popular pick to potentially be like the Orioles of last year. As Hosmer gets into one to left field, going back, unable to make the play is J.D. Martinez. That stays in the yard. Perez, he will round third and score. Here comes Hosmer, trying for 3, and he is out at third. The run will score, though. Perez crossed home before Hosmer was thrown out at third base. An RBI double for Eric Hosmer. He makes the last out of the inning at third, but they still get 2 runs across in the inning.
Talked about the wind. Get it up in that gale. That's a double.
By Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. Top of the second, 2-0. Royals lead the Astros. J.D. Martinez takes the first pitch fastball in the outside corner for a strike from Irvin Santana. Martinez on the year, 264, 6 home runs, 24 RBIs. The 0-1 breaking ball is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. It was Martinez in left field on that last play of the first inning. Could not make the catch, but stayed with it. And they were able to get Hosmer trying to stretch that double into a triple.
Well, a couple things we saw on that play there before we went to a commercial. First of all is the wind. I talked about the wind, how it'll carry us. A medium, kind of a lofty fly ball. It was slicing and heading into that wind down to that corner. And Martinez, he didn't go hard right away. He kind of drifted, and sometimes that happens, and the wind blows it over your jump. And then Hosmer cost him a triple by just an inch at third base because we saw him round first base, and he was watching the ball, and he had to redirect his path, and it cost him a triple.
2-2, pulled to third. Miguel Tejada makes the play, 1 away. This is Eric Hosmer, what you were talking about, why he missed out on a triple.
Okay, watch it. He hits it now. Let the umpire dictate where it's going to stay fair foul. Watch, he's watching it, but he didn't see first. So he had to alter his run, and now by the time he gets to third base, it's just a game of inches, they call it, and that made the difference.
And he may have been safe.
Looked like he got his hand in there, but
yeah,
most of the time when that ball beats you, umpires are going to call you out.
One away here in the second, and Carlos Pena will step to the plate.
But Hosmer, he'll take the RBI. The Royals will take those 2 runs early.
Pena, first pitch, line to center field. There is Lorenzo Cain, and quickly 2 up, 2 down here in the second. How about the 4 keys to the game? What should we look for today?
All right. For Irvin Santana, it looks like he did what he needed to do to get out of that first inning, because he's given up a lot. But he hasn't gotten any run support. Okay, he's got to be able to get some runs. So far, 2 runs for him. Oh, that's right on his average. He's only averaging 2 runs. So he gets him in the first. It's beautiful. He's Magic. That's his nickname, after Irvin Magic Johnson. And so Irvin wants to continue the magic. And you can see the run production list there. It's not pretty. But pitchers can't do anything about that, Justin. They can't do anything about that. They stay on their game, pitch. Don't you dare say a word in the media about I'm not getting any support, because that causes a little bit of problems in the clubhouse. Control only what you can.
1 ball, 1 strike here to Chris Carter, the first baseman who's got power for the Astros. 221, 12 home runs, 32 RBIs.
I'll say he's got big power. If you watch his batting practice someday, he'll drop your jaw. You'll go, really? That's how a grown man hits at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's BP time, but he's learning how to hit him at 7 o'clock. For tonight, 6 o'clock. And Bedard would like to see one off of his bat. Irvin gives up a lot of homers. 13 home runs. He's given up 9 to righties and 4 to lefties.
Carter, a big guy, 6'4", 244. The 2-2 from Santana. Fastball just missing outside. We have at 95 on the gun.
He's been consistently there. Now, he'll show that once or twice, but he's more comfortable around 93.
Payoff pitch, got him swinging. Second strikeout of the game for Santana. A 10-pitch inning for Magic. It's 2-0 Royals. Ace Hardware is sponsored by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Bottom half of the second back here at Kauffman Stadium, 2-0. Royals lead the Astros. It'll be Lorenzo Cain, Miguel Tejada, Jeff Francoeur to face Eric Bedard. Meanwhile, a crazy day in baseball. The Marlins just beat the Mets 2-1 in 20 innings.
Oh, man.
First pitch to Cain is a fastball in the outside corner for a strike. Can you imagine A, going 20 innings, but B, going 19 with a score 1-1?
No, it's a nightmare for a manager. kidding me? That's 2 games. How are you going to work your bullpen the next week, couple days? You'll be taxed.
Change up, swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes. Kane on the season, 285, 2 home runs, 25 RBIs.
I thought maybe that was a doubleheader because that hurricane went up the coast up there and washed a lot of games out. But fortunately, that's just one. It's like 2 playing 20 innings.
Bedard's 0-2. Little nubber out in front of the mound. Bedard bare hands. Throws wide of first base as Carter is unable to handle it. And Lorenzo Cain comes up a little bit slow.
It's a very dangerous play. Whenever the first baseman comes across the path of the runner, a lot can happen there. And, Ned Yost is hoping his player, Lorenzo Cain, is going to be all right. And first baseman's is not very safe for them either. So Bedard is not accurate with his throw, I think it's safe to say. A little check and swing here. Want to kind of take your time, not panic too much. Looked like he had a changeup grip. And looked like to me Lorenzo Cain missed first base. Maybe just caught it on the inside part. But anyway, everybody's all right.
It's an error on Bedard on a throw. Miguel Tejada will step to the plate. Fastball is up high for ball 1. Cain is certainly a threat to go. 8 for 12 on the bases as Tejada on the season. 289, 2 home runs, 17 RBIs in 19 games this year. Bringing some veteran leadership to this young ball club.
He has. He's got energy. He might be 38, but he plays like he's 22, 23. Fits right in on this Royals team.
Fouls him back out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, he's not just a cheerleader either. He's hitting 290 against lefties this year with a homer, but he's played a little bit of shortstop, third, second. He still can play. It's not like he's just a one-dimensional guy.
That's what impresses me about a guy like Tejada, who is an MVP as a shortstop with the Oakland A's, and how he's able to move around now at the end of his career. Second base, shortstop, third base. Same thing happened with Omar Vizquel. Moved around. 1-1 line drive back up the middle. Cain will hold up at second base as Tejada has a single. Let's go to Matt Vasquez at the MLB Network studios for a game break.
Justin, here's how that long one went down. You were talking about Mets and Marlins. Longest game in the big leagues this year. Tied at 1 in the 20th when Adeiny Echeverria made it 2-1 Marlins. Sean Markham became the first pitcher since 1989 to go 8 or more in relief. He lost today. And as we go back to you, Justin and Rex, it was no 22-inning Expos Dodgers game, HUD, but it was pretty close.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Matt, it's all about the grand game of baseball. It's not on a clock. It's a beautiful game.
You played in a 22-inning game?
Yeah, it can be a nightmare. Now, not for players especially. I mentioned it. Managers have fits because they're bullpen. You got to have good long guys like Matt was talking about.
Jeff Francoeur, first pitch, swinging 0-1. How about that, though? Sean Markham, 8 innings in relief. Talk about saving a bullpen.
I'm telling you, I was looking for something, and Matt just gave us an update on that. I was wondering about that bullpen, Terry Collins.
Man. Francoeur, 213, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs on the year. First and second, nobody out in the second. Breaking ball, popped up, shallow left field. Coming in is Martinez, going out is Gonzalez, and Gonzalez makes the play. Time now for the Own Your Space pitcher profile, brought to you by Avis. It is Eric Bedard. And Bedard, how about this? Climbing the ladder. Although he's got a ways to go to catch up to really Dempster and Fergie Jenkins. Most career strikeouts by a Canadian-born pitcher.
Bedard, Bo Porter made him the 5th starter this year. So 5th starters early in the season with all the off days and stuff and opening days, they don't get a lot of action. So that was good for him as he had a little injury in spring training and he just kind of gradually brought him along. Built up his arm strength, 50 pitch count, then 75, then 90. So he gradually brought him into where he's now in season condition. He's ready to go.
And this is a big spot in the game right now. First and second, 1 out. You've got the 9-hole hitter up and Elliott Johnson. Bedard, a veteran, you kind of get the feeling you need to get a double play, get out of the inning. You can't allow another run to score.
Oh, big time. He's got to be able to keep that ball down. Location's everything for him. And being a left-hander, that changeup's a very big pitch against the righty. A lot of guys that try to pull it, and they roll their hands over, and they put them in the lane. It's another word for a double play. Lane ball. That's what he's looking for here.
Lorenzo Cain on at second base. Miguel Tejada at first. One away, bottom half of the second. 2-0. Royals already on top. Backdoor breaking ball, misses way outside. 2 balls and a strike.
Okay, Elliott Johnson hasn't grounded into a double play all year. So Houston fans are probably saying, perfect. This is the right time. Okay, hitters count 2-1. Pitch it backwards a little bit. Change up a little breaking ball. Might get out of the inning.
Timeout asked for by Johnson, granted by the home plate umpire Manny Gonzalez.
Elliott Johnson's been a very nice player for Ned Yost. He fills in at second base. He played some third. He's even got a start at shortstop.
2-1. Big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's got speed, switch hitter, very good throwing arm. So Bedard, he humped up a little bit. Bo Porter said, you know what? Bedard's got some 94 in him, but he'll show it occasionally when he wants to.
It's 2-2. Well, he humped it up to 91, gets the strikeout. That's a big out. 2 away here in the second. The Prostate Cancer Foundation's Home Run Challenge starts this week, leading to Father's Day next weekend. All 84 Major League Baseball games from Tuesday, June 11th through Father's Day, Sunday, June 16th, are Home Run Challenge games. Pledges can be made by going to www.homerunchallenge.org. 2 away, back to the top of the order now for David Lowe, who singled and scored his first time up. And the first pitch fastball misses outside for ball 1. This is the 17th game of the season for David Lowe.
Gerard Dyson, he was one of their premium utility type guys. Played some outfield, had great speed, but he had a high ankle sprain, and he's down in rehab now. And David Lowe came up, and he's been productive.
Slow curveball there by Bedard for a strike.
He's been helping out a lot. He played some right field now. And Frank Coor's been struggling a little bit this year, so David Lowe's been playing some right, play some center.
Playing left tonight, giving Alex Gordon a night off. Bedard and Castro going through the signs. 1-1 is down low, 2 balls and a strike. The Royals got 2 runs in the first off of Bedard. An RBI single by Salvador Perez, an RBI double by Eric Hosmer. The 2-1 by Bedard drops down, fouled back, 2-2.
Okay, David Lowe, he can be a little pesky type hitter. You know, he's going to slap that ball around a little bit, use his speed, but also he's a gap-to-gap type hitter. He'll go left center, right center, anywhere you put him. But with 2 strikes now, he's going to tax the pitching count if you let him. It's a nightmare for a pitcher. You get a guy up there fouling off a bunch of pitches. It works that pitch count up.
Already now 33 pitches on the night for Eric Bedard. There you go, fouled away.
And that's kind of what George Brett has been focusing on. Competing in each at-bat. Compete against the ball. Not against the pitcher, but the ball. Train your eyes to hit only your pitch. But when 2 strikes come, throw it all out and just compete.
Cain reached on the error to open up the inning. Miguel Tejada singled in his at-bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2 men on in a 2-0 ball game here in the bottom of the second. And just for good measure, the Royals won by 2 last night. 2-2 slow breaking ball to third base. Dominguez makes the play, and that'll do it. So Bedard escapes a jam. Baseball Night in America will return to Kansas City after a word from your local Fox station. By Ace Hardware back here at the K in Kansas City. It is 2-0. Royals leading the Astros top of the third. And Trevor Crowe will lead things off against Irvin Santana. And the first pitch fastball is taken low and outside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Crowe on the season, 239, a home run and 3 RBIs.
He's 1 for 3 lifetime off Irvin, so he's faced him 3 times. Small sample.
Ground ball to second base. Elliott Johnson, the backhand, 1 away here in the third. That'll bring Matt Dominguez to the plate. The young third baseman for this Houston Astros team. And Dominguez on the season, 239, 9 home runs, 32 RBIs. But really of late, he has come alive.
Yeah, no, his power numbers are good. Plus, he's playing in a nice ballpark there in Houston where that porch in left field's really short. So he's tailor-made for that ballpark. What I like about him, you know, there's Moose, and those 2 guys were high school teammates.
How incredible is that? They were high school teammates same year at Chatsworth High School, about 30 miles northwest of L.A.
Yeah, Moose.
And they were drafted in the first round together. That's a high school team. If you have a college team to get 2 first-rounders, you're doing something well.
All right, now look at him.
And here he is up the middle past Alcides Escobar for a base hit. The first hit of the game for the Astros.
Well, Dominguez is a very relaxed guy. He's very relaxed with his stance. But you know, you're right. To have 2 guys, a righty and a lefty, and Moose was the shortstop then. Dominguez played third. I mean, that's amazing that you could have a couple of #1 picks.
3 things you need to know about Matt Dominguez. Well, apparently he has a lot of nicknames. But he was acquired in a 2012 trade from Miami for Carlos Lee. So certainly paying dividends right now.
Sloth.
Usually means you're not fleet of foot.
That's what I was thinking. You said it, not me.
Marwin Gonzalez, the 9-hole hitter, steps in, takes the first pitch fastball, low and outside for a ball. I mean, obviously, Chatsworth High School is a phenomenal high school baseball program. But when you have two guys, actually, Dwight Evans actually went to that high school. So you have some history there. But to have two guys the same year get drafted first round. Gonzalez into center. Nice play by Lorenzo King, getting a good jump on the ball. And they're 2 away now in the inning.
Yeah, it's a hotbed of talent out there in Southern Cal. The weather's always nice. Warm. They produce them. Warm weathered climates.
Can you imagine the trash talking that goes on with those two?
Yeah. You know, Matt's a real quiet guy. Moose has a little more personality. But I talked with Matt about being teammates with Moose, and he said that, you know, I wasn't a real fan of getting the pop-ups down the line. And Moose would always call me off everything. So I never had a chance to catch a pop-up. Moose was so aggressive. He said he just run me off. I would hear him screaming in my ear. I never could get the balls I wanted to get.
Brandon Barnes fouls it back out of play. No balls and 1 strike to Barnes, who fouled out to first base in the first inning.
I tell you, Bo Porter, he's got a couple of diamonds in the rough. Brandon Barnes is a tough guy. I mean, you know, I like him. He's scrappy, plays hard. He's a young guy. Some young players here that have a pretty high ceiling as far as their talent goes. And Barnes is one of them. He said he's the best center fielder that he's seen come along in a while, and the best in the Astros system.
So good so that Justin Maxwell, who's been on the DL, when he comes back, they may move him over to right field.
Yep, he's aggressive, and that's what you do. He's amongst the leaders in a lot of rookie categories this year. He's really opening up some eyes.
Santana's 0-2. Got him with a slider. Strikeout number 3 for Urban Santana. He gives up his first hit of the ball game, but he also picks up his 3rd strikeout. When we come back, we'll be joined with Bud Norris right after this. Bottom half of the 3rd. Royals leading 2-0 over the Astros. Alcides Escobar will lead things off against Eric Bedard. First pitch, Escobar lines one foul down the first baseline. No balls and 1 strike. We are now joined here down in the dugout by starting pitcher for the Houston Astros, Bud Norris. And Bud, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. You pitched on Thursday against Baltimore. Pitched well, 7 innings, just 3 earned runs. The starting pitchers as a group, you guys have been pitching very well of late. What do you think has been the cause of that?
A lot of things. I just think a lot of guys are getting comfortable in the season. We're 2 months in. Nice play there by Carter. But, we're 2 months in. We're not just out of spring training. This whole adjustment to the American League has been a big adjustment for all of us. New cities, new lineups, new everything. But I just think the guys are getting really comfortable. Their confidence has been coming along day in and day out. And the hard work's been there, too. So it's been great to see the results. And I really think it's just passing the ball off to the next guy and the next night. So the guys behind us, the 8 guys behind us, know that each guy going out there is going to give us a good start. And it's really been paying off.
How's Broke? What's his philosophy?
He's been great. I actually had the opportunity to play with Broke when I first came up, so I know him as a player and as a pitching coach. But he instills more confidence day in and day out with your stuff. He really just lets you go out there and naturally compete and go play the game. He will definitely give you tidbits, mechanically and what your thought process and all the rest. But he just really instills a lot of confidence in you day in and day out.
Salvador Perez at the plate. Took the first pitch curveball, first strike. Perez, an RBI single and a run scored his first time up. Again, we are speaking with Bud Norris right now. And you just said that you played with Brocail, and now he's your pitching coach. What is that like? I mean, you knew him as a player, as a teammate, and now he's your coach.
It was great. When I came up, he kind of took me under his wing. And I had a lot of veterans when I came up in 09, and they really showed me how to play the game the right way and the way it's supposed to be played. That being said, a lot's happened here in the last couple of years, and I know he was working in the front office, and they called him, and he got the pitching coach job in the middle of the season. So when he came down and we had him in the dugout, it was kind of surreal because I'm used to having him in the pen and passing him the ball. But like I said, he's been the same guy throughout years, and he's just a humble person to teach us the game. And, he's just been great. So I love having him. He helps me day in and day out. I can honestly bring anything up to him, whether it be on the field or off the field, and he's going to give me the best advice. So he's so much more than just a pitching coach, but a great person on top of it.
Outstanding. Hey, Bud, you were selected in the 6th round in June in 06, and you've been with the Houston Astros your entire career. Can you speak to the culture and the attitude, what's going on in Houston, through the ownership change, where you guys are now?
It really has been a crazy process. I don't think a lot of people break pitch there. A lot of people understand what's all been going on. I came up in July of 09, and we've really traded a lot of our icon players away. Hunter Pence's, Michael Bourne's, Lance Berkman, Roy Oswald's, Carlos Lee, Wandy Rodriguez. But we've had some serious players in our system, but things weren't going the way. Then the ownership made the decision. Drake McClain was our previous owner. Had the opportunity to see him last couple of days, and he kind of was on his way out. And so it kind of hurt us, and I've definitely seen a lot over my 3.5 years, but I firmly believe with the new ownership and the new president and with Bo, run this team, I really think that they're getting back to playing baseball and doing the right thing. So that being said, I'm just trying to do my part and help these guys out and teach them the right way to play the game from the way I was taught to play the game. And, Bo's really made it really fun with this new staff, and it's been a long 3.5 years. It hasn't been the way I wanted to play, but I have the opportunity to come out here and play Major League Baseball every day, and truly blessed for that.
Well, your numbers at home since the start of last season have been phenomenal. A 1.94 ERA at a ballpark that's not exactly been pitcher-friendly since it came about. It counts no balls and 1 strike to Billy Butler with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. We are speaking with Bud Norris. And Bud, getting away from baseball. By the way, I think you have a future in play-by-play or color if you want one.
I'll try it maybe. Down the road, I might try it.
But I've heard you also like golf. How's the golf game down in Houston?
Yeah, it's been really warm, really nice. I haven't played much this year. I don't know. I just haven't had that itch to go out there and consistently play like I have over the years. I've really been honing in on pitching, and I kind of tweaked my back in Detroit, so I didn't think that would make the team very happy. But I'm an avid golfer. I love going the off-seasons. I kind of just grew up with it. My dad played college golf at Cal Berkeley, and my grandpa played college baseball at Cal Berkeley. So I definitely.
So they weren't very smart people.
Yeah,
I guess.
Exactly. No, they were athletic and definitely in the genes. So it's something I love. I know a lot of pitchers play. I've gotten opportunities to play with a lot of guys over the years in spring training because I think that's when we get out there the most. But I love the game of golf, and I can really kind of tie pitching and golf in hand in hand because it's 4 different shots to make par, but it's 4 different pitches to make an out. So I just kind of tie them in together, and I love both games, so I enjoy them.
But Tom Watson's from Kansas City now. Next time you guys come out here, we might could hook you guys up.
Hey, if you got connections there, sign me up. I'll definitely get up early for that one.
He's a huge Royals fan. He comes up here in the booth every once in a while, but Glad to see that you're enjoying your time.
Hey, Bud, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Billy Butler strikes out to end the third. We're through 3. It's 2-0 Royals. Where getting help is just like going to your neighbor. And sponsored by AT&T, Rethink Possible. A look at the Negro Leagues Museum, where Bo Porter, the manager of the Houston Astros, spoke there yesterday. It's the top of the 4th inning here at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Jose Altuve will lead things off. Altuve takes the first pitch up and in for ball 1. He grounded out to second base his first time up. Missed a couple of games as he was nursing a sore groin. Back in the lineup here today. And really one of my favorite players because he also is vertically challenged.
Yeah, but look, baseball, big surprises come in small packages. You don't have to be a big guy to perform in this game. You've got to have that heart we talked about earlier. You've got to have the heart, and you have to have the fundamental skills, and he's got those. He's short to the ball. Dare I use that word? I meant his swing.
No pun intended.
Yeah, none. His swing is short and quick. He makes good contact. He's free to foot out there at second base, and he's a leader.
2-1 fouled back, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's a hacker, man. He's up there swinging.
And that's the thing. You see him, and he takes a big swing, right? Little guy, big swing. Dustin Pedroia, Red Sox. Little guy, big swing. Not what you would think when you look at them. 2-2, called strike 3 on the outside corner with a fastball. That's the 4th strikeout of the game for Irvin Santana. He has 1 in each of the first 4 innings. We mentioned Bo Porter, how he spoke at the Negro Leagues Museum. Well, Bo Porter was a 2-sport athlete at Iowa. And Bo Porter, the safety for the Iowa Hawkeyes, he said one of his 2 greatest sports memories was beating Michigan his senior year to send Iowa to the Rose Bowl.
Beautiful. How about that?
On the road, beating Michigan in the big house.
Oh, what a memory for him.
A great athlete.
How'd they do in the Rose Bowl?
Good question. Trying to think back to that year.
Still, you know, you beat a team like Michigan to go there. That's almost the highlight of your season.
1 ball, 1 strike here to Jason Castro, who struck out his first time up. On the outside corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Porter said, in case you were wondering, his other greatest sports memory was just last year as a third base coach
for the Washington Nationals, being along for that ride as the area, the city of Washington, D.C. got around the Nationals as they won the NL East. Ground ball to first. Hosmer will take it to the bag himself, and there are 2 away here in the 4th.
Okay, Houston Astros hitters need to be aware of that breaking ball when they get 2 strikes on them. That's Irvin's put-away pitch. That's what he's been doing.
J.D. Martinez steps to the plate, grounded out to third base, his first time up.
Santana comes into this game. 62 strikeouts, 13 walks. Now he's given up the 13 home runs, but that's because he's a strike thrower. He's in that strike zone, so he's going to give up home runs. He led the league last year in homers. Give it up.
Slider pulled foul. No balls and 1 strike. You think about Urban Santana when he came up with the Angels. I mean, he was a big-time prospect. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he pitched Game 5 of that division series against the Yankees.
Yeah, and they took him by surprise lots of times. But with Irvin, he hasn't changed that much either, except some velocity on his fastball, consistency. But that's a credit to him. He had poise when he was young, and he looks like the same guy. Different hairstyle, but same quality of pitches. A little bit harder he threw, like most young guys, but still, Irvin, we've seen some 95 this evening.
And he gets him swinging, so 2 strikeouts in the inning for Santana. He's got 5 through 4. His team leads 2-0. Two 2-0 bottom half of the 4th. Eric Hosmer leading off against Eric Bedard. And the first pitch, fastball's in there for a strike. Hosmer, RBI double back in the first, was thrown out at third base, trying to stretch it into a triple. Oh, 1 is pulled into right field for a base hit. So Hosmer's 2 for 2. Let's check back in with Matt Vasgersian for a game break.
Justin to Milwaukee. The Philadelphia Phillies have the National League's home run leader. It's not Ryan Howard. It's not Chase Utley. It's not Craig Lizinski. It's Dom Brown, whose career best 19th of the year started the scoring a Gene Segura solo shot. Has tied it 1-1 in Milwaukee in the 3rd. Back to you and Eric.
That is an unbelievable season so far by Dominic Brown. Forget about season. Unbelievable 6 weeks. 19 home runs right now. Look at the young guys leading the way on that home run leaders for the National League.
Yeah, you know, Dominic Brown's a guy that they've been waiting on for the last 2 or 3 years. It takes time in Major League Baseball. Are you kidding me? You can't just step up here and dominate. This is a man's league, and lots of young men are in it. It takes you some repetition, takes you a little bit of failure to become a man in this game. Good for Brown. I'm glad to see him having that kind of year they expected it from him.
Lorenzo Cain behind in the count, no balls and 1 strike.
And Matt Viscursion just gave me a compliment. He called me Eric. if he thinks I'm Eric Karros, that makes me feel a lot better. Matty, way to go. It's HUD here, though.
Justin Kutcher alongside Rex Hudler here at Kauffman Stadium. Bottom half of the 4th inning, and it's a 2-0 ball game. The Royals looking for their 4th straight win of the season. And the dirt, good stop there by Castro. And it's 2 balls and a strike. You know, you talk about Dominic Brown and how the Phillies have been waiting for this guy to develop, and now their patience is paying off. That's been the story right here with this Royals team, as Hosmer is now 2 for 2 in the game at first base. This is a guy who kind of jumped onto the scene back in 2011, hit .293 with 19 home runs, 78 RBIs. Everybody's like, who's this guy playing first base for the Royals? I mean, he was a first-round pick. Everyone knew about him, but to come up and put up those numbers, that was impressive. And he followed that up the next spring, putting up ungodly numbers. And everyone thought, okay, this guy's the first baseman that we're going to build this team around.
But once that bell rings, it's a whole different ball game because they're pitching for keeps. Stats are on the back of bubblegum cards. You're paid on performance during the season, not in the spring. However, it's a game of adjustments, and you have to continue to make them.
As Lorenzo Cain works the walk. But with that said, it's not that I try to put too much on the spring training numbers, but to follow up what he did that first time.
Okay, for Hosmer, though, it's been that front leg that's get him in trouble. Now, he's only got 1 home run. You were saying how all the great numbers and how the high expectations. He hasn't been able to duplicate that this season so far. He's been in a little bit of a funk. He has a long swing at times. He can go opposite field. But to get that inside fastball that George Brett's been working on, standing up a little taller, leveraging his legs, getting a little bit quicker inside, and trying to turn on that ball.
Well, now 1st and 2nd, nobody out for Miguel Tejada. Bedard has now thrown a first pitch strike to 12 of 16 batters that he has faced in this game. Tejada singled right back up the middle, back in the 2nd. Ervin Santana's been dealing for the Royals. Not used to run support. Only gets 2.68 runs per game when he starts. The Royals have a very good chance here to put a 3rd run across.
Or more if you put it in the wheelhouse of Tejada. He hit one against the Astros earlier in Houston this year. 3-run homer. That middle in, that's his spot.
You know, it's a nice night here at the K when you've got beach balls out. They're getting onto the field. That's the 2nd time we've had a stoppage of play because the beach balls have made their way onto the field.
Gotta love it. Players don't necessarily. It slows the game down some, but the fans are into it.
0-1, fouled back, no balls and 2 strikes. By the way, we're in some pretty good foul ball territory here, aren't we?
We are.
Have you caught one yet?
I have. I have caught one up here, but really this isn't as big as some, but this is a pretty good window. Typically, it's the left-handed bats that come up here.
Okay.
So we're ready to play.
All right.
We got to be able to make the play. And you know what's amazing is you see all the green grass out there. As a player, you're wondering, how could you not get more hits? When I first came to the broadcast booth, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Look at all that area out there. Man. But those guys, the athletes in the outfield, are so fast and they close that ground so quickly, it can be a big hang with them.
The 0-2 from Bedard, up and in. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hey, you mentioned the grass out here. This place used to be turf.
It used to be. They ripped it up. Toma used to be the groundskeeper here. He's elected in the Royals Hall of Fame. But it's a much easier and safer playing surface now that that carpet's gone. Players will tell you that.
This is one of the prettiest views from the broadcast booth of any stadium in baseball.
Glad you think that. It's a gorgeous yard. And last year, the Royals were able to entertain the Grand All-Star Game.
Yep.
So the whole world got to see the beauty of this stadium, Kauffman Stadium. That scoreboard in center field is unlike any other. With the crown on top, fireworks shoot out of that, the fountains at nighttime. Wait till the sun goes down here. They'll light those babies up, and it is fresher than any ballpark in the world.
I just love the waterfalls. I mean, growing up, that's what I remember from this ballpark. And you look out, when they renovated this, they made it even prettier. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The count here to Tejada. 1-2 is pulled by the diving shortstop Gonzalez. They're going to load around Hosmer. Here comes the throw, and he is safe at the plate. RBI single for Tejada. 3-0 Royals.
Okay, Tejada, he waited Bedard out. Took a lot of pitches. Fouled a few of them off. He waited for the mistake. And you can see he's returning the energy back to that dugout. Ball had eyes. Got right past Gonzalez. And Hosmer brought the mail home from second base. 3-0.
Still nobody out here in the fourth. 3-0. And now Jeff Francoeur will step to the plate against Bedard. Francoeur popped out to short his first time up.
I don't think Ned's going to be asking Frenchie to bunt here. However, it wouldn't be a bad situation. But
nope, going the other way with it. That's much better than the bunts. Lorenzo Cain will score. They're waving Tejada. Nope, they're going to hold him up at third. An RBI double for Jeff Francoeur, and it's 4-0 Kansas City with runners on at second and third and nobody out.
I was going to say, with Francoeur struggling a little bit this season, may not be a bad idea to move the runners over. But you know what, though? He took that pitch the opposite way and waited till the ball got deep towards the catcher's glove, saw the ball long, and was able to produce. He got knocked in a run and got 2 more in scoring position and still nobody out. That's why Red Rodriguez, the third base coach, held Tejada there. There's nobody out. No need in trying to run him into an out over there.
So now nobody out for Ned Yost and the Royals. And Elliott Johnson at the plate. The infield brought in. Middle infield just about halfway. First pitch is pulled foul. That was the 60th pitch of the game already for Eric Bedard. He has 60 pitches through now 3+ innings. Irvin Santana has 45 through 4. Elliott Johnson struck out his first time up. One of 2 strikeout victims in the game for Bedard.
All right, when the infield's in, sometimes that can be intimidating for a hitter. But what you do, you focus on the middle. You focus on going right back up the middle with that ball. Okay, that's the biggest hole on the diamond when the infielders are in. Now, Bo Porter has them halfway. They're not quite in on the grass. And that's to give them a little bit more range with a runner at second base so they can knock it down and not let that run score if it does get by him. But a hitter's focus should be back at the middle.
Big swing there by Johnson, chasing a fastball out of the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes. How much of playing the middle infield about halfway is based on the speed of the runner at third base?
Well, in this situation, they're more concerned with Francoeur scoring here. Now, it just depends on where the ball takes you to. If the ball's hit softly and you got a chance and one of the middle infielders are coming in, you'll go ahead and go home with it and get him, because you're already down 4-0 here. You can't afford to give him any more runs.
Line outside, 2-2. But if you're more concerned with that runner at second, why not play back and give yourself more range? Is it just in case of a ball hit right at you, get the runner at home?
Yeah, it's a safety first. They can't afford to give up any more runs here. Down 4-0. They would like to be able to get the out at home if he advances on a ball that's hit on the ground. They call that the contact play.
The Royals 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position here tonight. 2-2.
And overall, the Royals have hit 283 as a team. It's not a bad number. Anything over 280 is good.
Eric Bedard, you see what he has done his last 5 starts. He's pitching very well. Now he's given up 4 already, and it's second and third. Nobody out here in the bottom half of the 4th inning.
Tejada doesn't run that well. That's another reason why Bo Porter has him back a little bit. They're not. He would rather give them a little bit of range, knowing that they can still get him on a ball coming home.
2-2. Good job by Johnson to foul it back. Stays alive. The Royals a chance to break this game wide open here in the 4th inning.
They're working that pitch count on Bedard. He's not able to finish him off. Gets 2 strikes on him, and the Royals are being pesky. They're just fouling off pitches that are borderline until you get the cookie. That's the idea.
The bullpen is quiet for the Astros.
So Bedard needs to finish him off. And Castro just called for the fastball, and that pitch there, it's been working for Bedard. He struck out Billy Butler with it, and he got Elliott Johnson, the same hitter, on the fastball. So maybe they'll try it again. But when in doubt, talk it out.
Okay, so you see the bullpen's quiet. Now you've got the battery talking, and the shortstop, Marwin Gonzalez, is coming from shortstop. Is this a situation where Gonzalez says to Bedard, all right, what are you throwing, or what's the signal, where are we going, so he knows what's going on?
Yep, it's about the sign. With a runner at second base, maybe they change the signs up a little bit. Frank Coor's a veteran. You know, I'm not saying that they do it, but, you know, baseball players do give location or signs at times, but I'm sure that Gonzalez wanted to know, what's the sign? Let me know. Usually it's first sign after 2, it's the 3rd sign you put down, and they know that so they can move.
2-2 breaking ball in the dirt. Now a full count. On deck is David Lowe.
So the reason that it's important for an infielder to know what the pitch is coming is because you take a step to your right if you're a shortstop on a breaking ball. The hitter's going to be ahead of it. Or you might take one step the other way while the pitch is coming when you know it's a fastball. Those little advantages help you get a jump and possibly save you some games. Save runs.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the count to Johnson.
Sometimes you just want to lay it in there. Challenge him.
This is low and outside with a changeup for ball 4. So the bases are loaded. Nobody out. The top of the order, David Lowe, is at the plate. Second walk of the inning issued by Eric Bedard.
Okay, and that right there is an example of trying to trick the hitter 3-2. Sometimes you take your chances. Throw a fastball knee high. He's going to hit it, but maybe he hits it at somebody, and you get an out. You tried to trick him, and it didn't work.
David Lowe singled and scored back in the 1st, grounded out to 3rd base in the 2nd. Now middle infield is double play depth. And now there is some action out there in the Astros pen. Brad Peacock. First pitch, breaking ball to Lowe. Ground ball to second. There's 1. There's 2. They get the double play. Coming in to score is Tejada. No RBI as Frank Coor goes down to 3rd.
That's exactly what Bedard was needing right there. He needed a little bit of a lift. Now they gave the run. They'll take the 2 outs here. It's still early in the game. He'll take that double play.
Make Sunday extra special by going out to the ballpark. Go to MLB.com/Sunday to find special ticket offers. And speaking of Sunday, tomorrow here at the ballpark, it'll be Lucas Harrell against Luis Mendoza. 2 away now for Alcides Escobar. He takes the first pitch, breaking ball low and inside for a ball. 5-0. Kansas City now leading. Escobar turns on one, but pulls it foul. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Kansas City Royals fans aren't used to seeing 5 runs this early in the game. I'm telling you, there's been a run shortage here, especially the past month. Now that's over now. They're on their upswing again. There was a deep valley that the Royals had. They couldn't score many runs. But the fans tonight at the K, seeing their team break out early in the game off a starter. Typically they wait till they get to the bullpen.
Fastball's low and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, the magic number for this Kansas City Royals team has been 4 runs. When they score at least 4 runs in a game, they're 19-5 on the season. They've scored 5 already in this one. Two balls and 1 strike. The count to Escobar with Francoeur on at third. Breaking ball pulled down the left field line, and that is pulled foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Escobar is 0 for 2 in this one. And by the way, he's got the power balance bracelets on both wrists, so he's definitely balanced.
I noticed you're balanced on one side up here.
I'm only wearing one, so I must be off balance.
That's perfect. You are off balance. That's what those things are all about. Does it give you extra energy, extra power?
2-2 fouled back. You can't knock me off my feet. Even though you're a football player, it's impossible now that I have this on.
That's beautiful. Well, maybe Escobar can't get knocked off the plate by Bedard then. He's got 2 of them on.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The count here to Escobar.
And Bedard might be wanting to come inside a little bit more.
A 27 pitch inning here for Eric Bedard.
Get in that kitchen.
Another 2-2. In the air, right center field. Trevor Crowe goes over a couple steps there to make the catch, and that will do it. But the Royals put 3 on the board here in the 4th. We're through 4. It's 5-0 Kansas City. In Kansas City, a beautiful night for baseball. The home team Royals are leading 5-0 over the Astros. Carlos Pena will lead things off against Irvin Santana, who has been dealing. He has 5 strikeouts. He's thrown 45 pitches through 4 innings and now 46. Again, with 5 strikeouts. That's how well he's pitching so far. Carlos Pena lined out to center field his first time up.
Okay, Pena, he's a dead pull hitter. A lot of teams play him with a 3-man infield on the right side. Some don't. It all depends on their spray charts. And he went against the charts right there.
And again, he goes to center field. And again, a good jump by Lorenzo Cain. Well, the Fox Sports 1 fan cam caught fans here at the ballpark. Out by the merry-go-round, or the Ferris wheel, or the carousel. One of those three.
Yeah, no.
They're all here.
Carousel will work.
They're all excited about the Fox Sports 1. Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming this August. By the way, there's a t-shirt giveaway here today. I think these two teams, when you go with that light blue for the Royals, I think these two teams have the best uniforms in baseball now.
They're beautiful. Now the Astros at one time,
were the worst uniforms in baseball.
Yeah, and I think we saw a fan with an Astro uniform on earlier, but those powder blues are beautiful. They wear those on Sundays. But that's a real classy looking Houston there. But you see these Royal fans here, and they're royal blue. It's a beautiful place when they're all decked out in it.
Slider, check, swing. Did he go? He did, says first base umpire Tony Randazzo. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Chris Carter, who struck out his first time up.
That makes it 88 strikeouts on the year for him.
Oof.
Yeah, 12 homers, 32 RBIs. But see, that's what they call some guys like that, all or nothing. And that's not a slap at them. It's just that's the way they're built.
And you've got all or nothing with Carlos Pena and Chris Carter back to back. 1-2 fastballs outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But Ned Yost got to be pretty pleased with Irvin Santana so far. He's showing more velocity consistently than he has at any time of the year.
2-2, fouled away.
He's on his game. He's not used to getting this many runs. He's a little bit shocked right now. He's like, what? I got a 5-run lead?
You mentioned those 88 strikeouts for Carter. The 2-2 from Santana. Sliders thrown outside, 3-2, and the strikeout numbers have gone up essentially every year now in baseball. What's your take on how many strikeouts we are seeing these days?
Well, I'm going to credit the pitching this year especially, but also you're paid based on performance, and guys don't really care about the strikeouts. They'd rather hit a homer, and that looks better, and you get paid on that. But the pitching has improved a lot. They're getting a lot better this year. For some reason, the strikeouts are up. But I'm going to say money has a lot to do with it, and they don't really care. The pride's not there for striking out anymore.
Right.
It used to be in the old days, they were like, you're not going to get me. It was more competitive.
Well, Carter goes the opposite way. Frank Core over by the wall. That is a foul ball.
But you look back, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, or whatever, guys took more pride in competing in their at-bats.
They changed their approach with 2 strikes.
Exactly. And you know what? With 2 strikes, 0-2, they were on their heels because you got dusted. You got knocked off the plate. It was a totally different game back then. But when the money changed and the power started coming, they started getting paid big dollars based on homers.
It's a totally different game. Is it a better game with this approach? I'll say this. I don't think so.
I'm going to agree with you. I like to see the competition at its finest and purest. Guys playing hard, sliding in hard. They didn't have any friends out there. Nowadays, the game's gotten too friendly.
Well, there's another strikeout at the knees. Strikeout number 6 for Santana. Let's take a look at the Fox Sports 1 pitching comparisons presented by Fox Sports 1. America's new sports network, coming this August. Santana up against Eric Bedard in this ballgame. And the advantage thus far has gone to Irvin Santana. Now 4 2/3. Look at that. No walks, 6 strikeouts. He has given up 1 hit. Bedard, 5 earned runs through 4 innings.
That's why there's such an emphasis on pitching. That's 90% of the game of baseball. If the guy's on, you ain't touching it. You're not getting a chance if he executes where he can. He has too many advantages, especially the angle. Guys that stay on top and have a downward plane makes it more difficult to square up.
Trevor Crowe up the middle. Behind the bag is Escobar. The spin, the throw got him. What a play by Alcides Escobar. Young, talented, athletic. That is pretty.
Call the cops, he ripped him off.
Alcides Escobar. Rex, you've seen him a lot. You said he makes these plays routinely.
You know, he's got tremendous range. I mean, he's on the second base side of the base over there. And his footwork is impeccable. He could be a ballet star if they trained him in it. He's got a great throwing arm, tremendous range, and certainly has gold in his future.
The only bad part about this is he's not the one leading off this inning. He made the last out of the fourth, so Salvador Perez will step in. He takes the first pitch fastball outside as that tailed away. Perez, 1 for 2, RBI single back in the first, scored a run, popped out to first base his last time up. Slow backdoor breaking ball misses, 2 balls and no strikes. You wonder if this is one of those games right now. It's 5-0 already in the 5th inning. Bedard on the mound, a veteran. Is this one where Bo Porter says he just hoped he can get you through 5 or 6 innings?
Yep, that's the way it's looking.
Ground ball to short, Marwin Gonzalez, 1 away. Today's telecast, presented by Ace Hardware, is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. 1 out here in the 5th. Billy Butler will step to the plate. And a 5-0 ball game as the Royals are going for their 4th win in a row. Butler's 0 for 2, struck out his last time up. Changeup is pulled off the foot, and it's no balls and 1 strike. Speaking earlier today with Ned Yost and about the expectations of this team, again, how many people, experts thought if you're going to pick a sleeper team this year, the Royals were a very, very popular pick. And what he said is, look, it's only June. I mean, it's just now June 8th. There's plenty of time. And
that's the way you have to think.
Billy Butler to right field, sending Trevor Crowe back, and he's able to make the catch. And when you look at the AL Central standings, it's not as if the Tigers have really separated themselves from the group. You've got Cleveland entering today at 3.5 back, the Twins at 6 back, the Royals at only 6.5 games back at this point. So there's still plenty of time left in this season.
Well, the environment here in Kansas City, they haven't had a winning team since #03, and they haven't had a world championship since in 28 years. So look, it's hard to use the word patience with these crowd here, the people here in Kansas City. They've been patient for a long time, and the prospects are coming, and I just have to wait a little bit longer, but it's coming. Ownership went out and addressed the issue of starting pitching. They didn't have any. They got 4 starters by the time the new year turned. So Mr. Glass, the Glass family, promised Dayton, hey, all right, we're going to supply you with whatever you need to get some starting pitching. And they went out and they traded their big guy, Will Myers.
Yep.
And they got James Shields, Wade Davis, and Elliott Johnson. 3 guys that have really helped out so far this young season.
And they made a deal to get Irvin Santana.
That was the first pitcher that they acquired.
2 balls, 1 strike. The count to Hosmer, who's having a nice night. Foul back out of play.
And you know, Irvin Santana pitched his whole career with the Angels, so this is his first opportunity to turn the uniform from red to royal blue. And it's been good for him. He likes the ballpark here. It's a good park to pitch in. And he's been nails. Give him some run support, him and James Shields, and you got a 1 and 2. You got 2 aces on the staff.
2-2 fastball missing outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ned Yost, when speaking about James Shields, he said he's never seen a starting pitcher have such an influence on the clubhouse. He has been such a positive influence in the clubhouse for the Royals. The 3-2 from Bedard. High and outside. Hosmer checked his swing, says Brian Gorman. And it's a 2-out walk issued to Hosmer, who has now reached base all 3 times he has been at the plate.
Okay, last night, James Shields, bummed out, dejected. Here's his skipper saying, hey, look, you're doing your job. We'll get you some run support. Hang in there. And look, he even went a little further and wrapped his arm around him and gave him a hug. And for Ned, that's a full embrace.
Well, now Lorenzo Cain steps to the plate. The center fielder has reached base both times. Walked and scored his last time up. First pitch swinging, fouls one into the seats on the first base dugout.
Noticing Bedard's using a lot of off speed now. He's gone away from his fastball and he's working in his secondary pitches, his changeup, his curveball. He's really trying to keep him off balance and do the best he can. He's pitching now. He used to be a thrower, but now, and most pitchers evolve into a pitcher. Some guys are throwers early in their career. They throw hard, and you can get away with it because you have the velocity, you blow it by guys. But really, the more mature young pitchers realize it's all about changing speeds and locating, not about that radar gun on the scoreboard.
You're seeing that now with CC Sabathia with the Yankees. Even Justin Verlander didn't have his fastball earlier this year. It's actually a lot of fun to watch veteran pitchers who've learned how to pitch and just kind of toy with youngsters. Low and inside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
It is, and you mentioned youngsters. So when you come in, you're a hitter, a young hitter in this league. You got guys that have been making a living up here for 8 or 9, 10 years, and they love to see young, hungry hitters come up there and swing out of their heels, out of their shoes, at everything. It takes young hitters time. You have to endure failure. You have to go through that process.
2-1, foul back, 2-2.
It takes time. I mean, there's very few Mike Trouts and Bryce Harpers.
Right.
Okay, those guys spoil it for all the young talent that's coming in now.
And Manny Machado.
Right, they expect those kind of guys. You know, Longoria, you can put him in there. He came up and he was good right away.
Yep. 90th pitch of the game coming up here for Eric Bedard. And Bedard has been a guy historically who hits that 100-pitch plateau, and that's about it. 2-2, missing inside. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the Royals have done a good job of taxing his pitch count by fouling off pitches and being a little bit more selective.
2 outs, 3-2 count. Hosmer will be off with the pitch. There goes Hosmer, line drive over, leaping out Altuve into right center field.
Nice score.
Hosmer there to wave him around. Altuve will not even throw home a 2-out RBI double by Lorenzo Cain, and it's 6-0 Royals.
It was off the end of his bat. It wasn't like he barreled it. That would have been a no contest at home at all. I mean, but there's a nice pitch by Bedard. Kept it down and away from him, and Lorenzo Cain just chipped it over Altuve's head. And it was slow enough. The ball was hit slow enough to get Hosmer all the way around, who was running on the pitch.
So Hosmer has now scored 2 runs on the night. And this will be it for Eric Bedard as Bo Porter comes out to make a pitching change. Bedard went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 6 runs, responsible for the runner on at second. 6-0 Royals lead. Back after this. these Astros will be back in Houston to face the White Sox. The Yankees head west, take on Mike Trout and the Angels, Tigers, Twins, Nationals, Indians, and Mariners Athletics. That's Baseball Night in America, presented by Ace Hardware. Begins next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox. The new pitcher is the right-hander Brad Peacock, as he will face Miguel Tejada with 2 outs here in the 5th. And the first pitch fastball's in there for a strike. Peacock on the year is 1-3 with an 8.77 ERA. This is his 9th game, has started 5 of them. 25 2/3 with 32 hits, 25 runs, 16 walks, 21 strikeouts.
Okay, the Royals hitters can expect a fastball in the mid-90s. Got a changeup and a nice curve.
Peacock's 0-1. There is that curveball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tejada, 2 for 2. 2 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. You saw Eric Bedard in the dugout, dejected. 4 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs all earned, responsible for that runner on at second. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. And this is after he had pitched very, very well his last 5 starts. 1-1, Tejada to right field. Trevor Crowe is there, and that will end this 5th inning. Another run across the plate for the Royals. Irvin Santana is dealing. He's getting run support. His team leads 6-0 at the end of 5. Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network. It comes this August 17th. The Astros, look at that. No runner has reached second base. Irvin Santana has been awesome so far tonight. And the Royals, the last 4 games, the problem before was hitting. Well, they're hitting with runners in scoring position. Matt Dominguez takes the first pitch fastball in there for a strike. Dominguez singled his first time up. Slider, and that's low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's George Brett speaking with Mike Moustakas.
Talking about situations, and George has the ears of the young players.
Ground ball, shortstop, Escobar. This one is a much easier play, and there's one away here in the 6th. Today's telecast is sponsored by Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball, and by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Beautiful night right now here in Kansas City. However, thanks to my weatherman partner right here, Rex Hutler, I've been told that there is some nasty weather coming this way. Do you want the green screen right now and you can put it up?
We're pretty good with the weather here. And the weather people are unbelievable because you got to be in the Midwest.
All right, so
you can see it. It's coming from the west, and it's coming pretty hard, about maybe an hour and a half away. So hopefully for the Royals fans that are here, and a great crowd, by the way, we can get this game in and they can get under some protection here from the rain.
I was hoping you were going to diagram where it was coming, where it's moving, all that kind of stuff.
We got a ball game here. This is not a weather show, but it's coming.
1 ball, 1 strike to count here to Marwin Gonzalez. Here in the top of the 6th inning. Lined out to center field his first time up. Good slider, 1-2. It is a nice crowd here on this Saturday night. A t-shirt giveaway. And they're seeing a great pitching performance by Ervin Santana. 1-2, back foot. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Before the game, we talked about Ervin. He's a strike thrower. Okay, and he gives up home runs because of that, but he hasn't walked a batter all night. Goes right after it. Fastballs early, gets ahead, then he finishes him off with that nasty slider. With the angle on the slider is really hard to square up. A good changeup. And let's not forget the young Salvador Perez, who has a tremendous retention for the game plan. He can keep it the whole game, and even when they bring in relievers.
2-2. There's a slider in the dirt. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Watching the broadcast last night, heard Jason Kendall, when he was on the air with you guys, say that he thinks Salvador Perez is the best young catcher in all of baseball.
It's high praise, but Kendall's a 17-year backstop in the big leagues. He's got a pretty good idea. But you know, the power that Houston has, they could get back in this game with a couple of...
Nice play at second by Johnson. Throws to Santana, covering at the bag. That is not an easy play, and that was very pretty.
Johnson's got really good range, and I talked about his arm strength. It looked like off the bat that was going to be a base hit all the way. But also the home runs are really important, you know, in baseball. The Royals don't hit homers, but the Houston Astros do.
Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball, is celebrating a new season for new memories. For your chance to win a community field makeover and an all-new 2014 Impala, visit ChevyBaseball.com. 2 away here in the 6th. Brandon Barnes, a leadoff hitter at the plate, and he takes the fastball for a ball. 10 in a row retired now by Ervin Santana. Barnes 0 for 2, a strikeout and a foul out to first. On the outside corner, 1-1. It even looks, with that fastball there by Santana, it's almost like a cutter.
He's got a little bit of late life on it, that's for sure.
A slider, check swing.
But the 15 home runs that the Houston Astros have hit in the last 10 games, you know, that's impressive. This is a young bunch, and you never know when you're going to get it, but Ervin's given up 13.
1-2, fouled back. Three things you need to know about Brandon Barnes, the center fielder for the Houston Astros. From Anaheim, California. Played football, not baseball, during his senior year of high school. And look at all those minor league at-bats. I know you haven't spent 10 years in the minor leagues. You can appreciate what he went through to get up here to the big leagues.
That's right. He's got a perseverance to his heart. He doesn't know the word quit. He doesn't know the word go home. He's committed to baseball, and he's going to see it through. And when I see a statistic like that, how many minor league at-bats, tells me he knows how to play the game. Now he's in the big leagues. They don't have to spend a lot of time coaching him.
2-2. Hanging slider, stays with it. Drives it to left center field, and Barnes will go for 2. The throw will come back into the shortstop. And it's a 2-out double for Brandon Barnes.
And Barnes, he's just taken that center field job and run with it. You know, Major League Baseball, a lot of young guys get here before they're ready at times. for certain teams, you know, and so they don't have a lot of experience in the minors, and therefore you're doing more coaching and more teaching at the major league level than they did, you know, in the past. So, but when you see a guy like this is put in that minor league service, you can be confident that he knows the situations and how to hit in them and what to do and how to go about your daily routine.
Jose Altuve steps to the plate. He's first pitch swinging, ground ball up the middle. Brandon Barnes will round third, and he will come in to score a 2-out RBI by Altuve, and it's now a 6-1 ball game.
That's what I'm saying. A couple bloops and a blast, and you're right back in it. Altuve, he's been first ball hacking all night. He's been aggressive, and that's a good approach against a strike thrower. You got to know who you're facing. You know, what are his tendencies? You know, you look at the stats a little bit, you see how many walks he's had, how many strikeouts, and you can get a pretty good idea on your game plan offensively. And Altuve been very aggressive.
Altuve picks up his 23rd RBI. By the way, Brandon Barnes at second base before he scored. He was the first base runner of the game to reach second for the Astros. And now he comes around to score. And Jason Castro at the plate is 0 for 2. Chopper back up the middle. That's 3 consecutive hits against Santana, all with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Santana, prior to these last 3 pitches, had given up just 1 hit. Now he's given up 4 hits in this ball game through 5 2/3. Ned Yost looking on. This meeting on the mound with Salvador Perez, Miguel Tejada, and Irvin Santana.
2-out rallies cause that against your opponents. It makes you go, wow, you know what? I had these guys on the brink, and now I can't get them out. They're starting to hit me a little bit. First pitches, maybe you change it up some. But 2-out rallies really can't hurt the opponent's pitcher.
The first 73 pitches of this game, the Astros had 1 hit. The last 3, they have 3 hits. As J.D. Martinez pulls the first one foul.
Every Astros hitter has swung at the first pitch here coming up, these last 3 guys. Playing them pretty much straight up. Lorenzo Cain, the center fielder, on the pull side.
Fastball is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's the guy, you know, J.D. Martinez, they had to send him back to the minors last year for a little bit of brush up, a little bit of confidence, a breather, whatever your management calls him. But it was effective for him. He went down there, worked on some things, and came back. And he's much more productive.
Fisted towards second. Elliott Johnson makes the play, and that'll do it here in the 6th. 1 run comes across. You're watching Baseball Night in America, presented by Ace Hardware.
Game break. Oakland entered play with a half-game lead in the AL West. Paul Konerko's 6th of the year were among their troubles today for the A's. Chicago claimed a 4-1 win. Indians and Tigers. Jose Valverde putting the finishing touches on a Detroit victory. Tigers take a 4.5-game lead over the second-place Tribe. Cleveland has lost 10 straight on the road. And as we get you back out to Justin and Rex, Hud, I've been calling Eric Karros Rex Hudler all night long. He's got no idea why, and he's getting tired of it. Back to you, lads.
Now, Matt, that's a real humbling thing to call Eric Karros Rex Hudler. That's depressing to him. So please tell him that you made a huge mistake. It makes me feel better when you call me Eric. He's the man.
That's great. Brad Peacock facing his second batter, Jeff Francoeur, to lead off here in the 6th. Francoeur takes the first pitch fastball outside for ball 1. Francoeur RBI double his last time up. Fastball's in there at 94, 1-1. So talk about a crazy day in baseball, right? We talked about the 20-inning game between the Miami Marlins and the New York Mets. How about the Blue Jays beat the Rangers 4-3 in 18 innings? Ooh. 1-1. Off the end of the bat to left field. Coming in is Martinez to make the catch. That is the first time since 1920, the second time, I guess, since 1920 that we had 2 games, one go of at least 18 innings in the same day.
Wow, that's a lot of baseballs being thrown and a lot of baseballs being used.
So there you have it. First time. Wow. That's unbelievable. No balls, 1 strike to Elliott Johnson. And just for good measure, the Twins Nationals game, that also won extra innings. The Twins won that one 4-3 in 11.
So that'll ruin your evening plans. If you're a player or you're a coach or even you're a fan, you know, you come to the ballpark saying, all right, should be about 2.5, 3 hour game. Go out, get some dinner. Everything changes.
In the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
All right, now, Brad Peacock, he's got a chance to just continue to hold down the Royals until his teammates can come back. That's how you mount comebacks. It all depends on the guy taking the ball from the starter. Bedard, Peacock, he's got stuff. Hold him down. He started to get to Irvin Santana in that last inning.
1-2 is outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Rex, I'm kind of in shock right now, but here we are in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Major League Baseball draft started on Thursday. Today is day 3 of the draft, and the Houston Astros had the #1 overall pick. 2-2 is pulled to first base. Carter bobbles it, gets up, recovers in time to get it to Peacock for the second out of the inning. And with that first overall pick, the Houston Astros selected the right-hander out of Stanford, Mark Appel. Appel was drafted last year by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the first round. Didn't sign, went back into the draft, and now he follows up Carlos Correa from last year's back-to-back #1 overall picks. And if you think about the last team to have back-to-back #1 overall picks, it was the Washington Nationals when they got Steven Strasburg and then Bryce Harper.
You know, most of the time, those guys aren't going to miss. You know, so this kid here, he's big and strong. He's got talking about downhill planes, he throws on one right over the top. Straight down, tough angle to square up. He's a horse, but you can build your future around #1 picks.
First pitch swinging is David Lowe as he lines a single to center field. That's his second hit of the ball game. So Mark Appel, drafted last year first round, goes back into the draft this year, gets drafted #1 overall. Luke Hochevar, they know him here in Kansas City. He was drafted by the Dodgers, didn't sign, went back in, drafted the next year, #1 overall by Kansas City. You got Wayne Townsend, J.D. Drew, Veritek, John Burke, and Brad Duvall. So you look at those names, and you wonder, how did it work out? Well, for Veritek, worked out very well. He was traded to the Boston Red Sox with Derek Lowe. J.D. Drew had a good career, didn't have the career that people had projected, especially as they compared him to Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, those are hard.
Yeah.
The comparisons, I mean, that's really tough on a young player when you compare him with somebody that great. But it happens.
But you were a first-round pick, and the expectations are high when you're a first-round pick. How much higher are they for you when you were drafted in the first round, didn't sign, then get drafted #1 overall the next year?
No, you know, it really puts a lot of pressure on the player. But still, you know that you're one of the best pitchers in the nation when that happens. I mean, because, and you're fortunate that you didn't have an injury. You know, to turn down that money, you know, when you're younger, and then, you know, you say, I'm going to finish my college or whatever, you're taking a chance that maybe you could have a blowout or something, and then there's no bonus, there's no nothing. You got to work your way back.
I saw a tweet this week that was from a Stanford alum, Kyle Peterson, who was a first-round pick as well, and he said last year Mark Appel would have signed for 3-point-something million. This year, #1, he should get over $7 million. Return on investment in 1 year, very good.
Yeah, but there's a gamble.
There is a gamble, no doubt. But I just thought it was funny that here's a Stanford guy, and the tweet was ROI. Like, how many other players would throw out ROI and figure out it's return on investment?
That's right.
That's Stanford.
It's business.
Two balls and one strike. The count to Escobar. A throw over to first base. More news in the draft. The Royals selected Kevin Coons, the son of first base coach Rusty Coons, in the 28th round of the draft. Kevin Coons plays at Kansas. That's pretty cool. A lot of good storylines. Casey Clemens drafted 35th round by the Astros. Casey Clemens, the son of Roger Clemens. Pop up, foul, coming back this way.
Now, you know, bloodlines are big in baseball when it comes to the draft. Scouts like that. You know, Rusty Coons, heck of a ball player. Heck, I think that he didn't give him any money when he signed. He told me the other day, heck, I was hopeful I could stay in AA for 60 days, and I got a little bonus.
Right.
I mean, that, you know, so the money was nothing like that.
Andy Pettit got his career win number 250. His son Josh, drafted by the Yankees. So his bloodlines again. Are you on Twitter? This is why I love Twitter. Just looking through.
I am, but I'm not as quick as you are. During the game, I leave it alone.
2 balls and 2 strikes here to Escobar. A long wait by Peacock. Leonard takes off, and it's fouled back on the off-speed pitch. And you wonder how some of these, you know, draft picks, when you, I'm not going to say necessarily do a favor for somebody in your organization, but Ben Verlander, drafted by the Tigers, the younger brother of Justin Verlander out of Old Dominion. And you think back to, back in what, the 80s, and the Dodgers took Mike Piazza as a little gift for the Godfather, Tommy Lasorda, and it worked out all right.
Right, 57th round. Yeah, he hit more home runs than any catcher in history.
2-2. To shortstop, Gonzalez to first, and that will do it here in the 6th. No runs on 1 hit, 1 left on. We're through 6 here in KC. The Royals lead 6-1. City baseball night in America here on Fox. The Astros and Royals from Kauffman Stadium. And it's 6-1 as we go to the 7th inning. Royals on top. Carlos Pena against Irvin Santana. The shift is on against Pena. Off-speed pitch out in front of it. No balls and 1 strike. Pena has flown out to center field both times. Both times Lorenzo Cain has gotten very good jumps out there.
I like to call that defense there that Ned puts on as the Phil Jackson triangle defense on the right side. On their hitting charts, they say that they read them out and they track everything from their scouts onto games that they do play. Ground balls, he's a pull hitter on the ground. In the air, he might hit some to left center. And if he did now, heck, he could walk around the bases. There's a big gap in left center field.
So Phil Jackson ran the triangle offense in basketball, but here in baseball, it's the Phil Jackson triangle defense.
That's right.
No balls and 2 strikes here to Pena. The 0-2 from Santana. That catches the home plate umpire, Manny Gonzalez. And it also catches Carlos Pena. So it got both of them. A leadoff hit batter. And Santana, who is really cruising along. Let's see. Did it really catch him? He really didn't respond like it hit him at all.
No, but sometimes you can be a good actor, and Pena just acted like he was walking on to first base like, oh, hum. It did hit me.
Don't you usually act like, ouch, it hurt?
With a toe, you definitely react to that. Yeah, that's a reaction spot when you get hit in the toe, but sometimes you get clipped off the, right there on the edge. It doesn't really get the pinky toe, so you're all right.
Chris Carter at the plate, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. In the dirt, Perez, the throw down a second as Pena tried to take the extra base, and he gets gunned down. Salvador Perez pouncing that ball quickly. And look at that look he just gave out there. Like, really? You just tried running on me?
And it wasn't a very smart play. As Bo Porter's saying, we're 5 runs down. We got my power up. We need to get some guys on. There's no need to try to push the envelope, especially against a guy that can block and throw like Salvi. He was out by a mile. Not a good choice.
On the outside corner of the strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. And you wouldn't expect that from Carlos Pena, a veteran. Not a guy who's going to try to steal many bases. Tried to advance on the ball that was in the dirt, blocked by Perez, and it barely got away from him.
Yeah, he was obviously looking to advance on a ball in the dirt, but you got to be smart when you're 5 runs down. And speaking of smart, Pena is, literally.
2-1 in the air, well hit to right field. Francoeur going back, still going back, looks up, gone.
There you go.
And now that caught stealing hurts even more for Carlos Pena and the Astros. As Chris Carter hits his 13th home run of the year.
So that's what I'm saying. Carter, a big power hitter. You get a couple guys on, a couple bloops and a blast, and you're right back in this game. Now, they would have had a 3-run deficit now instead of 4.
6-2, Kansas City leads. Trevor Crowe at the plate. Again, Irvin Santana is looking for his 100th career win. This is his 7th attempt at career win number 100. And the first pitch fastball's in there for a strike.
Okay, that's a very nice swing. And the ball was in on him, but he's so strong. I mean, it almost jammed him, and he hit it out to right field. The ball was on, it looked like it was middle in. Inside out swing, a beauty. Nice uppercut.
0-1 foul back, no balls and 2 strikes.
Irvin saying, really?
Hey, you said it. He gives up the home runs. Santana has surrendered now 14 home runs on the year.
10 to right-handed batters.
The 0-2. Fouled on the left field line, out of play. Santana 6 strikeouts through 6 1/3. did not have a strikeout in the 6th. His only inning without a strikeout, but he's climbing a leaderboard that you don't want to be on. Jeremy Guthrie and Chris Tillman lead the way with 15 home runs allowed this year. Off the end of the bat to left field. David Lowe was playing into away. Irvin Santana trying to pick up win number 100. And as far as Dominican-born pitchers, well, Juan Marshall leads the way with 243. Pedro Martinez in second. He can join that list.
Boy, that's some really good arms right there. And you know, Bartolo Colon, he's still active.
He's still pitching well.
I'm telling you, he's dealing.
2 outs for Matt Dominguez. And the first pitch slider's in there for a strike. Dominguez is 1 for 2, singled and grounded out to shortstop. Good slider, 0-2.
It's a tough one to lay off of because it looks so good. And then all of a sudden the bottom falls out of it.
The 0-2 from Santana. Fastball's just fouled away. Look at that, 94.
Yeah, here we are, 7th inning. Matt Dominguez, you know, he's very relaxed at the plate. You watch him. He just stands there. His hands are loose. You know, his hands are, you know, in a comfortable spot. And that's the key to hitting. Hitting is all about reacting. You react quicker when you're loose. Loose grip on the bat. Look at it. And then naturally when you go to swing, your hands will tighten up.
Right.
But it's reaction. You got to be quick.
That's what's so crazy about Evan Gattis. You see him, it looks like he's going to choke that bat. And he just crushes it for Atlanta.
Gattis, we saw him earlier. He's a beast.
0-2's in the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes. I mean, that has to be the surprise story of this year, right?
I would say for a player, yeah. It's amazing what he's done in a short amount of time. I mean, how many homers does he have now? About 10?
I think it's 13 or 14.
Ah, so for part-time playing? He was the guy earlier, but
1-2 in the air to center. Kane broke back, comes in, makes the catch. Chris Carter hits a home run to get another run on the board for the Astros. But Billy Butler is due up second in the 7th as his team leads 6-2. Innings, Jeremy Boyer, the organist for tonight, as it is retro night here at Kauffman Stadium. It's always nice to hear the organ here at the ballpark.
Especially when he's right next door to us and the ground's shaking when he plays. I love it.
Salvador Perez will lead things off here against Brad Peacock.
Ooh.
And that curveball got away from Peacock and hits Perez. Now, people can boo or whatever, but that's not on purpose. You don't try to hit a guy down 6-2 with a curveball.
Nope, slipped. Got away from it. But if you're going to get hit, and you young players out there, watch how he does it. Okay, you turn away. It hits him off his shoulder, but you turn to the backstop and expose your back. That's how you take a rock, or you take a ball. Keep it away from the face and the front side of the body.
So a leadoff man on, and now Billy Butler at the plate, who's 0 for 3. 2 flyouts to right and a strikeout. First pitch sliders down low and outside for ball 1. Two balls and no strikes. With Irvin Santana at 96 pitches, Kelvin Herrera begins to throw out there in the bullpen for the Royals. Again, Santana trying to collect win number 100 on his career. 2-0. Fastball is pulled to the hole on the left side. First and second, nobody out here in the 7th for the Royals. Today's telecast is presented by Ace, where getting help is just like going to your neighbor. And sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. First and second, nobody out. Bottom half of the 7th, Eric Hosmer at the plate. And Hosmer has had himself a night. An RBI double back in the 1st. A single, a run scored in the 4th. A walk, a run scored in the 5th. And now Jason Castro calls time, steps out in front of home plate, relays the signs to his infield on what they want to do here in this situation.
Yep, and so there are options. If there's a double steal, which I doubt it, he's letting those infielders know where he's going to throw the ball.
Wait, you're saying with Salvador Perez and Billy Butler on the bases, you're doubting a double steal?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Breaking ball in the dirt, 1 ball, no strikes.
But you never know. You can't assume in baseball. That's why Bo Porter told Castro, hey, look, let your infielders know what's going on here.
Between the two of them, Perez and Butler, they're combined 0 for 0 in stolen base attempts this year.
Yep. That's why it's not happening.
Low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. And right now, just trying to get a couple of insurance runs here for Irvin Santana or maybe the bullpen. You think about what Santana has done. He has gone at least 6 innings in every start this year for the Royals. He's worked through the 7th here in this one. 2-0 fastballs outside. Now 3 balls and no strikes. So, okay, what do you do here with a guy in Hosmer who's been hot here tonight? 3-0, first and second, nobody out.
Take a strike. There's no need right here. You got a nice lead, 3-0. I'm not going to give him the green light here. Now, they may give him the green light, but why not? If he throws a strike, you're in the same situation, 3-1.
Peacock's 3-0. He was taken, and now it's 3-1.
Now, if it's a closer score, you know, you got a good feel for the pitcher, you know, you might go green light, 3-0. But now he's the same situation. He's looking for a fastball.
He's certainly feeling it of late. 6 for his last 9. 3rd consecutive multi-hit game. The 3-1. Fastball misses outside. Ball 4. Bases are loaded, and nobody out. And now it's time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. And that is the batting average leaders this year in the 7th inning or later in the American League. And the Royals come in 3rd right now.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. Now, the Royals have been scoring a majority of the runs they do score late in games. That's a good stat to prove that right here.
So bases are loaded. Lorenzo Cain at the plate. RBI double his last time up.
And Lorenzo Cain, ironically, is hitting .344 from the 7th inning on.
And he chops one. A short, tough play by Gonzalez. Goes to 3rd to get the force out. That is a heads-up play. It'll be a fielder's choice RBI for Lorenzo Cain, and it's now 7-2, but the Astros do get an out.
Yep, do all you can. Ball's going to take you to the hole. The backhand, you can't make the play. That's all right. Stay with it. Got to force it 3rd. He wouldn't have had a chance to get a double play with Cain running. So just take the out. Now you try to roll one.
So 1 away, 1 run in on the RBI fielder's choice by Cain. Miguel Tejada at the plate, and Tejada is 2 for 3.
Tejada's grounded into 2 double plays this year. That's exactly what Peacock's looking for here. So keep that ball down. Work your secondary pitches in. That usually leaves that hitter to hit the top half of the ball.
No balls, 1 strike. The count here to Tejada. In the air to right field, shallow. And there are 2 away. It's a new right fielder into the game for the Astros. It is Jimmy Paredes now playing out there. And Trevor Crowe goes from right field to center field.
And you wonder if something wasn't bothering Barnes, because I saw him on the bases, and after he hit that double, and he was kind of bending over a little bit sideways. You know, he was kind of looking like he was in some discomfort.
And also, when he scored on that base hit, it looked like he was barely running.
I noticed it at second base before he had to make that run.
1 ball, no strikes here to Frank Court. And now it's 2 balls and no strikes. They got the wave going here at the K. 28,055 fans here in attendance. They're loving it. Get those beach balls out.
Beach balls and wave go hand in hand.
There's a strike with a fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike. The report on Brendan Barnes is a strained hamstring.
Yeah, rats. That's not good. Those things, those are nagging injuries. You got to really take care of those things, or they'll end up costing you a lot of playing time during the year.
Speaking of beach balls, we've got one down the right field corner. Strike on the outside corner. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the 7th. 7-2. Kansas City leading Houston, looking for their 4th straight win. Peacocks 2-2. All the way. Francoeur RBI double back in the 4th, a pop out to short in the 2nd, and he flew out to left in the 6th. Last night, the Royals won 4-2 to take game 1 of this 3-game series. Another 2-2. Breaking ball just spoiled. Foul there by Francoeur to stay alive.
And Francoeur, he's been in kind of a little bit of a funk this year and hasn't really gotten off to the start he was wanting to. Didn't have a good year last year either, so he's really fighting up there. Scrappy's battling. He's trying to fight off anything he can to get something going and get more playing time in right field.
Hosmer at second. Lorenzo Cain is over at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes here to Francoeur. Again, fouled back. Stays at 2-2. You know, you think about it. You had Eric Bedard starting tonight here for the Astros. You've got Jeff Francoeur starting in right field for the Royals. These are 2 guys. You go back 5, 6, 7 years. They were big-time names in baseball. I mean, Francoeur and Brian McCann, those were supposed to be the building blocks, the foundation for this Braves team. And, of course, Brian McCann has stayed in Atlanta. Francoeur has made his way around with the Mets, the Rangers, and the Royals. Another 2-2 by Peacock. Fouled away again. And then for Bedard, I mean, this is a guy who was one of the most sought-after pitchers in the trade market. Went to Seattle. Adam Jones went from Seattle to Baltimore. Everyone knows what Adam Jones is doing. And Bedard has made his way around from Seattle to Boston, Pittsburgh, and now here in Houston.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, it works sometimes for guys with organizations, and then they run out of patience for others, and they move them on. But one thing's guaranteed with Frenchie, he can throw.
Yes, he can. Another 2-2. Breaking ball pulled to third base. Dominguez. Low throw to first. Unable to dig it out is Carter. An error on the throw by Dominguez, and the inning is extended. The mistakes we've seen here tonight by the Astros are what they haven't been doing the last 10 games or so. That's the 3rd error of the game.
He had more time. It looked like he didn't get his timing right. His front half was ahead of his lower half. Watch him. He's a little off balance here on his throw. He was moving forward. Didn't have good center to gravity. Good foundation.
So bases are loaded now for Elliott Johnson. 43 errors now on the season for the Houston Astros. First pitch swinging is Johnson, who fouls it back. 0-1. It's a 43rd error in the 63rd game. Johnson 0 for 2 with a walk. Bases full, 1 run already in on the RBI fielder's choice by Cain. Hosmer's at third, Cain at second, and Francoeur on at first. Change up to sign outside.
That's 43 errors on the season for Houston. That's the most errors in the American League. You catch the ball and you throw it and you hit it with some timely hits, you win games. But if you don't catch the ball, you lose. And they're going to have a tough time when you start catching that ball.
1-1 changeup. That's back-to-back changeups thrown by Peacock, and it's 1-2.
You know, there's Frenchie over there. We talked about his arm. He picked up his 119th career outfield assist May 6th. That's the most in Major League Baseball since '05. But he's got a tremendous arm and plays a good right field.
The 1-2 from Peacock. Another changeup, and he gets him looking for strike 3. So the Royals leave the bases loaded to end the 7th, but they get one across. It's 7-2 Kansas City. Hardware. We go to the 8th inning here at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. 7-2. The Royals lead the Astros. A new pitcher into the game here for the Royals. It is the right-hander, J.C. Gutierrez. Gutierrez on the season, 0-1, a 4.32 ERA. Has appeared in 14 games, 16 and 2/3 innings, 17 hits, 8 runs, 5 walks, and 10 strikeouts on the year.
He's got a good arm, mid-90s fastball, big overhand curve.
He will face 9-1-2 in the order. Marwin Gonzalez steps in against the right-hander, J.C. Gutierrez. And the first pitch fastball at 95 misses outside for ball 1.
Tell you what, Ned Yost pleased with Irvin Santana. Likes his chances for maybe his 100th win in his 7th try. Went 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned.
Full to first base, Hosmer. He will go to the bag himself, 1 away. Well, he talks about other teams and other games going on. How about the story in Major League Baseball this week? The Dodgers rookie, Yasiel Puig, what he has done. Look at these numbers. Just awesome. And he's ignited the Dodger fan base. This was Monday night in his Major League debut. Going back to the wall. Watch him make this play. Check out the throw.
Yeah, what was interesting is that he didn't have momentum coming forward. He was going sideways. That was all arm right there.
The batter is Jimmy Paredes, who came in to replace Brendan Barnes. First pitch swinging groundsman, the second, 2 away here in the 8th. So that was Puig making the play. How about Bo Jackson? Royal, go back the day. Check out this one.
Okay, they're both in similar places in the ballpark on the warning track. Now, Bo had a little more momentum coming through, but there's a one-hopper all the way from left center field.
From left center field. And look who's playing first base, George Brett.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They like to compare the two, this new kid Puig and Bo Jackson, but, you know, really not a fair comparison for Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, you know, he was a football star, big physical guy, you know, made contact, you know, he scared people, intimidated people.
He broke bats over his leg.
Yeah, you know, a little bit different, but similar bodies, similar type.
Altuve flies out to right field in a quick 1-2-3 inning work by Gutierrez. We're through 7.5. It's 7-2 Royals. Royals, his team has exploded for 7 runs, and that's a ton of runs for Irvin Santana. But this is what he is. He's Mr. Royal. 3,154 hits, 3 batting titles, a Gold Glover, World Series champion. He's got a grill here at the ballpark named after him, the 390 Club, because he hit 390.
Amazing. More hits than any third baseman in the history of baseball.
He hit 390.
It's crazy. That's sick.
Elliott Johnson will lead things off. Excuse me, actually that's David Lowe to lead things off.
But so 20 years since George has been in that dugout. Okay? He had young high school, he had young boys. He had 3 of them. And, you know, he gave everything he could to his career. Stayed single. Then he got married. He said, all right, it's my turn to be a dad now. I want to be around my boys. And, you know, there were plenty of opportunities for George to get back on the field, obviously with his credentials. But I admire the fact that number 5 wanted to be a father first. And he dedicated and sold out to his kids. Now, a couple of them are in college. One's a senior. He says, you know what? Maybe the timing's right. And he got tired of watching the month of May. It wore on him. As the Royals, they couldn't get anything going offensively. 1 through 9 shut down in their lineup. It wasn't like, you know, 3 or 4 guys stopped hitting. The whole team did. So Dayton Moore, general manager, asked him, hey, look, think you can help out? He said, all right, I'm going. But let's try it for a month. Look, I don't want you to have to fire me. We'll see. The kids may not respond to me. I don't know. So far, so good.
Well, they're 5-3 since he took over as a hitting coach on May 30th. Trying to go 6-3 and trying to win their 4th in a row.
Passion and energy is what he brings, and a great pedigree, a Hall of Fame pedigree.
David Lowe, ground ball to second. Altuve has to get rid of it quickly, does, and he gets the out. Today's telecast presented by Ace Hardware is sponsored by Just for Men Auto Stop, the foolproof way to get rid of gray. And by the Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules. 1 out for Alcides Escobar. 0 for 4. 2 ground outs, a foul out, and a fly out. And the fastball misses high and outside for ball 1.
Bo Porter has some interesting coaches to help him with this young group that he has. Eduardo Perez is the bench coach. A 43-year-old young man with a ton of baseball experience. So, you know, we talked about Hall of Famers. Why not talk about his dad?
Yep.
And Eduardo. Doing a fine job for Bo Porter. Working hard. He was a Marlins hitting coach since 2011. This year he comes over with Bo, and you know, Bo was over there with the Marlins as well. And Eddie makes a difference. He's got passion and energy, a lot like what George brings. He's a happy guy. He loves baseball.
2-1. It'll pop up to right field. Paredes coming in to make the catch. Let's go to Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studios for a game break.
Hey, this is a special one for HUD. Top of the 7th, Matt Carpenter chopping to the right side. Look at that. Behind the back, Votto to Latos. Little Curly Neal to Meadowlark Lemon, if you will. A part of a 4-2 Reds lead late. Justin, back to you and Rex.
You know, we saw in game 1 of the NBA Finals, Tony Parker made that Harlem Globetrotters type move.
Yeah.
That's a Harlem Globetrotters type pass right there.
That was special. Heck, I couldn't even get that right in practice, let alone when the lights were on. 7:30. That's beautiful. What a play.
2 outs now for Salvador Perez, who takes the first pitch fastball low and outside for a ball.
I'll bet Matt Vasgersian can make that play, though. He's got skills.
The problem is it's not just one guy making the pass. It's also the other guy who has to complete it and make the play at first base.
With his bare hand.
Yes. Curveball, and Perez gets out of the way. 2 balls and no strikes. He was hit by a curveball his last time up. Came around to score on the RBI fielder's choice by Lorenzo Cain. That was the 7th run of the game for the Royals. Foul down the right field line, out of play. 2-1. So 7-2 here, bottom of the 8th inning. Justin Kutcher alongside Rex Udler. And you know what? The Royals, when they score 4 more runs, they win 19-5, trying to go 20-5 here tonight.
Yeah, you know, it's all about Urban Santana and the starting staff. They haven't been supplied with runs, but that's all changed now. It's nice that they're turning the page. Offense is coming around. They're starting to support the pitching staff. That management went out and got the Royals, and this is a team that many expected, you know, to win 85 to 90 games this year, and the potential is still there. I mean, we talk about Puig and the Dodgers. The Dodgers are only 7 games out. I mean, it's early in the season. There's a lot that can be made ahead. You can't do anything about the past except learn from it and then move forward, especially in this game of baseball.
You think Salvador Perez right there wanted to use that jet stream going out to left field to get a home run? That was a huge swing on a 3-1 pitch at his eyes.
Whenever you get drilled by a pitcher and he's still in the game and you come up the next time, you want a little payback.
Even drilled on a hanging curveball?
That's right. Yeah. He got powdered there. It still hurts. A lot more than you would think.
3-2, chases it, and that'll do it here in the 8th. A 1-2-3 inning work by Peacock. We're through 8. It's 7-2 Royals. Most exciting city in the world for the biggest event of the summer. Baseball's Midsummer Classic returns to New York with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. It's the 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, live from New York, July 16th, only on Fox. There is a former All-Star, 4-time All-Star, El Presidente. Dennis Martinez, now the bullpen coach for these Houston Astros. As we are now into the 9th inning, J.C. Gutierrez facing Jason Castro.
Come on, El Presidente, give us a better look at you. Sit down on that pine.
Show off the glasses.
And give us a little better look. He's doing great. You know, he won 245 games, and that ranks first all-time in Major League history among Latin American-born pitchers. How about that? He truly is one of the greatest that ever towed the slab.
Ground ball, first base. Hosmer, one away. Well, Fox Sports sends out our thoughts and sympathies to those in Oklahoma who over the last few weeks have seen far too much devastation. To help, you can text Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation or go to redcross.org. One out now for J.D. Martinez. How about J.C. Gutierrez? 7 pitches, 4 outs.
They made quick work. So much for mounting a comeback.
Again, Irvin Santana trying to collect win number 100 of his career and also pick up his first win since April 27th when he beat the Cleveland Indians. 1 ball, 1 strike here to Martinez, who's 0 for 3 on the night. One pulled through the hole on the left side. A 1-out single here for Martinez. The producer of tonight's game is Larry Lancaster. The director is Brian Lilly. The associate director is Eric Mandy. And the broadcast associate is Gilbert Zapita. The executive producer of the pregame show is Mike Connell. The producer is Rich Chimino. And the director is Mike Martin. Our statistician is Russ DeLynn. One out now for Carlos Pena. Was hit by a pitch his last time up. Pena behind on the count, 0-1.
Now, did you say that his teammates call him El Presidente too?
I thought I read that somewhere.
Carlos Pena.
Yeah.
There's only one El Presidente, especially if they're on the same team. I mean, I got a lot of respect for Carlos Pena because he's had a nice career. But Kenny Singleton, nicknamed Dennis Martinez,
really,
El Presidente, a long time ago when Dennis was a young Oriole.
Wow.
Singy's one of my heroes.
1 ball, 1 strike. The count here to Pena. A little off-speed pitch. Pena out in front. He talked about Carlos Pena having a nice career, and this guy was a highly touted prospect. Was involved in a couple of deals, Oakland, Detroit, and then all of a sudden he was with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Then neither team really wanted him. Then he goes to the Tampa Bay Rays, and he helps lead them to the World Series in 2008.
Just went off in that little bandbox of that yard they're in.
1-2 fouled back, and he kind of got his payback against both the Yankees and the Red Sox while playing for the Rays in the AL East.
He did. He made them pay.
He's played for 7 different teams.
Gotta like his future out of uniform. He's going to have his choice of anything he wants. Very well-spoken, intelligent engineering degree at Northwestern.
Northeastern.
Oh, excuse me. My bad. It's a big difference.
Foul tip, staying alive. It is a big difference.
I'm not too familiar with that part of the country, and that's where you came from, up there.
Yep. Went to school up in Boston. What's funny is that I broadcasted in the Cape Cod League in 2002, and Carlos's brother, Omar, was a middle infielder on the Hyannis Mets that year.
Really? So you broadcasted games in Cape Cod?
In Cape Cod. So my life was really rough that summer.
Yeah. So the people in the area got to watch it?
First base, Hosmer steps in the back, throws down a second. They've got the tag play, and that will end it. Not your typical double play to end a ball game. A 3-6 DP, and the Royals have now won 4 in a row. Our Burger King plays of the game brought to you by Burger King, where taste is king. It is Irvin Santana. Santana, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts, and he gets win number 100 and also win number 4 on the season. Improves to 4-5. The Royals take game 2 of this series 7-2, so they have taken the first 2 games of this series. Now for Rex Huther and our entire crew, I'm Justin Kutcher saying so long. More post-game coverage from the MLB Network studios will return with Matt Vasgersian and Dan Plesac.